Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. How are you feeling today? Well, before we proceed to the lesson, I really hope that you have revised the previous lessons on organelles. Well, today we are going to continue our lessons on the same topic, which is cell structure and functions. Basically, today we are going to learn about the cell membrane, or it is also known as plasma membrane. I really hope that towards the end of today's lesson, you should be able to show the structure of plasma membrane according to fluid mosaic model. The diagram shows the structure of cell membrane based on fluid mosaic model. The main component of cell membrane is made of phospholipid bilayer as well as protein. And you can see here there are two types of protein, which are the peripheral protein as well as integral protein. The peripheral protein is referring to protein that loosely bound on the surface of the membrane, while the integral protein showing the protein which are partially embedded or fully embedded through the phospholipid bilayer. There are other two components that made of the plasma membrane, which are carbohydrate as well as cholesterol. Let us discuss the component of plasma membrane or cell membrane. But before that, what is a plasma membrane? So, plasma membrane is referring to a membrane that encloses a cell and surrounds the cytoplasm. And plasma membrane is selectively permeable, and its function is to regulate movement of substances into and out of the cell. In other words, the plasma membrane regulates the cell's molecular traffic. The plasma membrane consists of a phospholipid bilayer, and as I have mentioned earlier, the main component of fluid mosaic model showing the cell membrane is phospholipids and protein. The diagram shows the fluid mosaic model. So this is also referring to the structure of the plasma membrane or the cell membrane. And you can see that the plasma membrane or cell membrane is composed of phospholipid bilayer because it is made of two layers of phospholipid. We also have peripheral protein, which can be found loosely attached on the surface of the membrane, as well as integral protein, which partially or fully embedded through the phospholipid bilayer. We also have other two components, which are cholesterol, which can be found among the phospholipid bilayer, as well as the carbohydrate. And if the carbohydrate attach on the protein, then this is known as a glycoprotein. But if the carbohydrate attach to the lipid, it is known as a glycolipid. Phospholipids are the most abundant lipids in the plasma membrane, and it is known as an amphipathic molecule, meaning it has both hydrophobic and hydrophilic region. So, in this diagram, it shows that the hydrophilic head has a direct interactions with water compared to the hydrophobic tail, which is away from water. If you can see that there are various types of protein attached or embedded in phospholipid bilayer. We have integral protein and peripheral protein. The integral protein are amphipathic, and some integral protein are partially embedded in phospholipid bilayer, while major integral protein will fully extended through the phospholipid bilayer, and this is known as a transmembrane protein. As a comparison to peripheral protein, the peripheral proteins referring to the protein which are not embedded through the phospholipid bilayer. They are only located on the inner part, okay, of the cells, and this is to held in place by attachment to cytoskeleton and outer surface in order to attach to material outside of cell of the plasma membrane. They are known as loosely bound to the surface of the membrane and usually bound to the exposed region of integral protein. But the question is why it is so called as fluid mosaic model. So back in 1972, two scientists had proposed this idea. It is so called as fluid because the phospholipid can move laterally or flip-flop, whereas mosaic shows various proteins are embedded or attached on the phospholipid. The diagram shows that the phospholipid are able to move laterally side by side, and it can also exchange its places, or it is known as flip-flop, and it only occurs once per month. The third component of cell membrane or plasma membrane is carbohydrate. Carbohydrate can be found on the outer surface of the plasma membrane, and the structure usually short and branched. Carbohydrate chain covalently bonded to protein, it is known as a glycoprotein. But when the carbohydrate chain covalently bonded to phospholipid, it is known as a glycolipid. Well, that's all for today, but before we end our lesson today, can you again state the component of cell membrane? Alright, with that, that's all for now. Bye-bye.